Hi everyone and welcome to a brand new series based on Star Trek Adversaries, which I'm going to be entitling in the long term. I'm going to be calling it an honest perspective. The idea of this series is to go backward and forward across some of the games that I've played either in Arena or in PvP to give you guys a little bit of a flavour of how we can approach certain situations, how strong certain cards are in certain situations, but mainly it's going to be upon reviewing a game, specifically one where I feel like I've done something incorrectly or that something hasn't been focused on the way it should be, or it's just a cool game and you guys can really enjoy it. The idea will be that I will cut to the sound from the game once I'm done rambling, and you guys can experience it in the live environment, but I will cut over myself just in case I feel like something needs explaining better than I could have done in a live environment. Or if there's no commentary, I'll just commentate on the whole thing. But since this has been taken from my stream, this will be a lot easier for you guys to appreciate in a live environment. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on a game that I played against the Locutus AI in Arena with an Excelsior deck. And one of the reasons I wanted to go over this game was, number one, I think it's a great game, and I also think that there's quite a lot to learn from about how to approach playing against Locutus AI. Something happens in this game which I'm honestly not sure should have been allowed to happen. What happened was that well, you'll see it during the game. There's the reason this video is called what it is. But just to give you some background, I'll show you close to the time. The AI does something which in reality I don't believe it should be able to do. However, that does not mean that I could not have won this game if I'd have played tighter. And one of the things that I think certainly is prevalent in very card games and in gaming as a whole is that if we're beaten by something which feels very powerful, and let's face it, the Locutus AI is very powerful, it's something that we tend to cry foul over an awful lot. We tend to do a lot of crying of OP or imbalanced or something along those lines. And often that's genuinely not the case. And that sort of thought process really does detract from us actually improving our game. So I hope you guys enjoy the game, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to include the actual arena draft first time round. I probably won't do this every time, but I felt like you guys should have got some of my thought process at the time, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So I will be back when I've got something to say. In your deck. But since we want to try out even more legendaries, I'm going to go Quark. Also, retreating is massively cheaty with the crew that do something upon deploy. Creekter's pretty good. Odo's terrible. Creekter's alright, but Quark I'm just going to take because he feels really powerful in a deck like this. None of these cards are particularly good. In the warship... Ugh. Yeah, none of these are good. I might just take this because it's a one drop. The warship's just badly statted. Just end up with a one drop or two drop trading for it, which is really not very good at all. Although it is decent against some of the ships where you have to race. I'm going to go with the shuttle, but I'm not particularly happy for it. It's alright for 4 attack, but it can trade up, but it very rarely gets that opportunity. None of these are good either. The Intrepid class starship, well, that's not an Intrepid class star. Maybe an old style Intrepid class starship, but I'm not too sure about the art on that. I'm going to take the Raider. It's fine at popping modulated shields, kills small ships, that's okay. This is just a bit too expensive, plus my ship does it anyway, so I don't want to be overloading on that. No, this is too expensive and too fragile. Thanks, Conlove. Hey, Flyboy Toff, how's it going? Tellarite patrol ship's really efficiently statted. Jarok has decent... Jarok has decent stats. Malon transport. The jamming ships they tend to make a little bit rubbish because the ability is rather powerful. Out of these, I'm probably going to take Jarok, but I'm more than likely going to do it through Gritted Teeth. Leffler doesn't do enough. Gorn Starship. can pump up one of these rather pithy little ships that I've got at the moment. I'm not a big fan of this. Again, 4 health's really low on a 5 ship. Though then again, there's not a huge amount of 5-star guys. Oh, thank you very much, Flyboy. Yeah, the Guardian seems fine. The Gorn Starship tends to come in and die against the Borg, so it seems alright. Out of these, Rhaegar, I think, is the best one. Apollo does destroy Borg spheres, which is kind of nice, but he's rather expensive for doing that. And Rhaegar, yeah, modulating shields is really powerful, and the computer doesn't really know how to play against it. Oh, look, 2 of exactly the same card. Wonderful. And that card is bad. But, in fact, all 3 of these cards are bad. I think being offered bad cards. Uh, I prefer a bad 1 drop over a bad 5 drop. Herodian Beta's really, really good. The other 2 are couple. I'm just a little bit worried. We've got 4 crew, 4 ships at the moment. So I've got 4 crew, 5 ships. So I'm going to be looking a lot more towards picking up ships at the moment. Danube runabout's fine. Oh, I got offered the Creekter again. Harry Mudd's quite fun, but I'm actually going to take the Creekter here. Again, I'm aiming more towards ships than crew at the moment. And while he's great, he's not anything like that. And Torres could be quite fun in a retreat deck, but again, I think that's one thing that you tend to have to be, at least I feel like you tend to have to be in card games, is you have to avoid the danger of cool things. This is definitely more than a little bit of foreshadowing. The idea behind the danger of cool things is that you can get stuck in a loop where you're doing something which looks really amazing, it feels really powerful, but you're not actually doing anything which increases your chances of winning the game. The Excelsior deck is extremely sensitive to this due to its ability to keep retreating its own Excelsior class ships and just constantly move. But you've got to remember, you're not gaining board advantage through doing that. All you're basically doing is drawing a card and gaining some energy. So unless you are leveraging that advantage to either ramping something out or making sure that you're healing your ship or retreating crew back into your deck, etc., you've got to make sure that you're not just doing it because it looks fun. It's got to have some kind of purpose. We've got what? Well, I'm not going to even call this a Guardian. This is terrible. Yeah, I'm not. This is awful. I'm not going to call this. So I'm going to. We've got 1 Guardian so far, so the ability to give more Guardians pretty good. Plus haste ships are always good. Norscan fighters fine. I actually have some early ships, so giving them a +1/+1 buff's okay. Again, not exactly what I want to be doing, but it's all right. Ugh, really? Ooh, ooh, goo, ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't like that at all. Again, this is just way too expensive and bad for what it is. The other top-end ships are way better. I suppose Tasha theoretically doesn't exist in this universe. Interesting. Um, Leffler, no, 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 I'm not going. I guess it's the Guardian, but I'm not. I'm not happy with that. There are some ships where I'm going to want the Guardian, but this feels like I'm going to need a lot of help at this point. Excuse me. I'm going to take the Andorian Cruiser. I've not got much 4-drop going on here. Actually, these 2 aren't too bad, but this is a beating, and I'll pick it up almost over almost any common. I think there might be a couple which may be better, but I will... Sorry, base card, not common, but I will pick this up whenever I get the opportunity. It's a beating. Neither are good. This is half decent. At least it replaces itself. Oh, God, why do you give me these 2 at the same time? What are we doing? Quark, Rhaegar, Jirok, Beta. Mayweather's very good in terms of... Can potentially retreat some stuff with him. Valiant might not be great because a lot of my crew. In fact, all the crew that I have don't want to be sitting on a ship. Jirok's probably the only one who does because you can make it a 6-3. So in that case, how many cards are we in? 17. Mayweather's one of the very few crew that I would actually pick up at this point. Valiant's very, very good, but I think Mayweather just gets the nod on this one. Oh, yuck. Vash is decent card draw, but in actuality, hey Commander Root, Vash is very good. Well, I say very good. She's decent, but in actuality, the way that you're going to beat a lot of the way you're going to beat a huge amount of the Borg, at least the Locutus especially, the way you're going to beat them is through fatigue. So I'm not too convinced I want to be drawing a shed load of cards. This is one of the most important things to understand when you're actually trying to build a deck. The idea is that you should have a battle plan depending on what sort of flagship or anything that you're going to be up against. While Vash is a very good card for refilling if you drop your hand early, she's not too much help in a control deck. And the truth is that the Excelsior class deck or the Excelsior class flagship has a lot of way to draw cards anyway. So while Vash does certainly have value if you're looking to win the game before you or your opponent fatigue, this sort of deck that I'm playing is going to be is going to very much be a deck that's going to win. More than likely, it's going to win against a couple of the harder AIs. It's going to win through fatigue, and therefore I don't want to be I don't want to be playing a deck where I'm going to accelerate myself towards fatigue, because that's more than likely going to be my win condition. Not to say that a lot of the time I wouldn't have picked up Vash anyway, but not for this deck. Rom is probably the best neutral crew in the game, or at least one of them. And neutralize is really good. But this is a fat tank, and I do kind of need a fat... Do I need one more fat tank? I think I need one more fat tank. Can we turn down a ship called Enterprise on a Star Trek stream? Especially considering that Picard's getting a new series. Can we turn that down? How many crew have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crew already. Yeah, I'm going to agree with Colonist here. I can't turn down a ship called Enterprise. Oh, I paid for that, didn't I? How badly will this screw up my fleet? It'll practically murder my entire ship base, won't it? I'll have to be very, very careful about playing this. Actually, what I would want to have happen is to play this and then Law silence it. Yeah, I think Ardra's the best pick out of all of them here. Not really going to lie, none of those options were good. The reason that I ended up taking Ardra, even though she's slightly against the strategy of what I want to be doing, is that she can allow one of your lower tier ships, certainly one of your lower costed ships, to trade up. And that's pretty much all I was after at this point. This particular pick that I'm up on here, basically, I think that the far and away best card is the Mercenary Galore. However, I am a bit worried about my early game, and that's why the warship ends up entering into my plans. I take Jamal as like my 8th crew, seriously? uh, okay. How many early game ships? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've actually only got one 3-drop at the moment, and that 3-drop needs something else to be in play. Yeah, we'll go for the 3-drop. 2 really nice cards. I prefer Excelsior class starship though. It's a Guardian and it's got a pump on it. I think that's great. Nebula's probably best of a bad bunch here. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, plan found. Plan found here. We have found a plan. Uh, 5, 6. About that 6? Oh, whatever. We found the plan anyway. It's Tilly. I guess. I mean, 5 for a 2-4 is god awful, but I might be able to rotate. I might be able to rotate something into it. I do need 3 drops. Do I need another? I don't think I need another 4. It does draw a card, which is nice, but this is equivalently statted, and I do think I need one more 3 drop, so I'm going to take it. It's Tilly with a moustache. And costing 1. Oh, I can't do it, can I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's too many crew. I can't do that. And I'm not taking another one of these. So, yeah. I'm paying for taking Ardra now there, otherwise I would have. And I end up with a second NX class refit. This deck is not great, shall we say. This deck is not doing what I wanted on Detection Grid in Season 4 or something along those lines. We're dead. True, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't at least try in these situations. My original idea here was to cut the game into sort of bits that would allow me to analyse the major decisions, as it were. But in fact, I felt like it was worth keeping the game intact, even though it is fairly long, because there is a bit of a flow to the game. That flow does... that flow shows you an awful lot about why I make some of the decisions I do, etc. And I felt like cutting it would have been a little bit detrimental to the video. So on this first one that you see, you get everything. This might not be the case going forward, but I doubt that I'll be dealing in 25-minute games too much going forward. So this is a little bit of a special occasion. I've got a fairly strong hand. I'm curving out quite nicely. I tend not to try and curve too much against Locutus because of his ability to just kill your ships, and that's why I'm playing the 2-1 that draws a card on Core Breach here and not the 4-2. In addition, next turn when Locutus has his attack ready, I am going to play the Excelsior because that will survive the attack and it'll mean that I can have a ship in play to retreat Quark. Generally against the Locutus, you just assume that he has 100 life. His deck is pretty much full entirely of ships that gain health. Reason being that stems a little bit from the beta where his ability was attack a ship for 6, so he would take damage back himself. Whereas now he doesn't take the damage, so he just heals all the time. Still, so far so good, and let's see how this keeps going. Too bad to me. That I'll accept. Dice roll time. Oh yes, baby. Right. Face? Yeah, face. Back here. Oh yeah. I've got 4, have I? Okay, so he's got a 4-4. I can actually go 1 drop. Oh. Can I retreat off that one? Oh, if this 1 drop survives, it'll be the best 1 drop in the history of ever, but I think I'm so risking it by doing it.
I'm not a soldier anymore. I'm an engineer. I trust my instincts.
Boom! Please don't have Borg Spear. Please don't have Borg Spear. Yes, he doesn't have Borg Spear. Whew. Whoop, get out of there. Right. So you can shoot that. This is potentially mistake number 1. You don't actually need a ship on the board to activate the Excelsior's retreat function, and the Excelsior does have a very powerful core card in the Excelsior itself. However, I'm going to forgive myself that because the Excelsior would just have died, so I don't feel like there's actually a benefit to having the Excelsior on the field there. And so maybe on this occasion I was just looking to go ahead and trade for there and see what the best I could do on that front is. But so far, this is going about as well as I thought it would. And I honestly didn't think this was going to end up being a very close game because, as you can see, the Borg are getting very far ahead here. So it's just a case of trying to get back into the game, and then we'll see where we can go from there. Fortunately, the Borg are awful, and they're going to allow me to retreat and deal 4 damage to everything. And this can occasionally happen. The Borg AI isn't entirely smart.
If there's a battle,
Combo! Acceptable outcome is acceptable. Go. No, we absolutely can win this one. We just have to play it very, very carefully. That reaction was to a member of my chat stating how he didn't feel, or he or she didn't feel, that we could win this game due to the fact that Locutus was still on 56 life at this point. To me, this is completely fine. His life total is pretty much irrelevant because I've now got my quote-unquote engine online here, and I'm having to use Phlox here to stop my Arconian warship from dying. But the reason that I feel okay at this point is that I've got my engine online, and he's going to fatigue at some point, or at least that's the idea, is that I'm going to fatigue him down at some point. And the issue is, that's disgusting, by the way. The issue is that basically I have, or at least the issue with Locutus is, he tends not to be actually that threatening for at least a small amount of time. But it tends to be when he pulls together 4 or 5, or well, maybe not even 4 or 5, 3 or 4 really good turns in a row where he goes big threat, big threat, big threat, big threat, and backs it up with his ability. If he does that, you're going to have a very, very difficult time winning. And as you can see, he's beginning to flood the board here, so it's my job to try and get back into this game. Yeah, this is not going to go well here. Well, I've got a Guardian out of it, which is probably about all I could wish for. And I'm going to try and start my engine up again, but I'm going to be honest, this isn't looking too hot at the moment, but this isn't the place where this game goes bananas. This is good. I've beaten Locutus through fatigue. I can do that very easily, but usually that's with the Intrepid. Interesting choice of how he decided to go about that, but who am I to argue? Yeah, that's not a good draw. Neither's that, and I think that we've just lost.
being in Starfleet is the best thing that ever happened to me.
I like a challenge.
Yeah, unless the AI is truly incompetent, we've just lost. Thank God I put Ardra on my... God I put Ardra on that, or that would have been even worse than it turned out to be.
We are Q. I trust my instincts.
As long as we can keep him doing like totally irrelevant things, we might be okay. Like doing that, you know, we're actually... That's fine. Like wasting all his ships. Right, oh, that's got Guardian, hasn't it? Right. Well, in you go. I'm gonna take the pod. Awkward.
If there's a battle, we must
Also
join it.
awkward. We might just get away with this, guys. No, this has got to blow up, hasn't it? Right. Okay.
Their shield will hold.
There's holding on. We are holding on against what they're doing. Yeah, there are Klingons. I consider that a really big flavour fail, by the way. The fact that there are... I'm sure he's only supposed to have one of those. I believe in this case I am actually correct. The reason I left the 2-2 on the board the last turn is that I wanted to develop my board an awful lot more, and the 2-2 isn't that threatening, so I felt like getting Rhaegar back into my deck, because I'm now at the point where the AI has used an awful lot of its legendary power. And my idea is that if the AI's used a lot of its legendary power, all I really want to do at this point is make sure that I've got enough crew in my deck so that I can go ahead and play for the super long game. I can't really use Kruge this turn, or can I? Well, I can, but I might end up losing him unless I'm willing to sack off my Excelsior. And I think that's what I think that's the incorrect play, the way I've done that, because I'm putting too much value on my Excelsior there, where I can get one probably next turn anyway. And that's one of the mistakes that I made that I believe actually ended up costing me this game, because Kruge is so powerful and it will keep me so much in the game that I think that it was a little bit unnecessary. Also, I should have attacked there. That was a free 3 damage. I could have just used my special ability. So you can see how my play's getting a little bit... you know, it's getting a little bit raggedy here at the moment, and I feel like it should be a bit better. But just to let you guys know how Locutus ended up with a second cube, he does only have one cube in his deck. I've played against him enough times to think, no, I think he only has one, unless, like, all the times I've fatigued him, he literally did have 2. But I believe that the cube is also one of his core cards, but because it's legendary, he should only be offered it once in a game. So the way that I'm thinking at the moment is that Locutus has had the cube from his deck and the cube from his lore card, so I should not have to face another cube at any point here. So I am still very much thinking, yeah, let's consider this game let's consider this game as one where I'm not going to have to face another Borg cube. And usually that's a decent assumption to make, but well, I won't spoil the surprise. We're basically going to spend the remaining few turns just cleaning up. You'll notice I only have one card left in my deck now. So the only thing that I can do here is that I'm going to start the chain, which is basically... This is something that's a little bit difficult because the ship that I'm used to doing this loop on, which is the Intrepid, only draws one card a turn. That's the final legendary from Locutus, by the way. Only draws one card a turn. Now, the deck that I'm playing at the moment, that's the wrong target. I should be targeting the shuttle. Yeah, there we go. The deck that I'm playing against now, its main retreat target is actually the Excelsior, which draws a card when it retreats. So in order to make sure this loop continues and I don't fatigue out, I need to constantly have 2 crew in my deck. Now, as long as I control Quark, that shouldn't be too much of a problem, because Quark has a... Quark's ability is that he makes 2 legendaries, and there are something along the lines of 2.5 times as many crew as there are ships. So as long as I don't let my crew get utterly destroyed, I should be able to just win by fatigue by just constantly shuffling 2 crew back into my deck, one of which is Quark. However, in this situation I end up getting my looping a little bit wrong, taking fatigue where I don't have to, and all of it adds up to how I end up in a bad situation in this game. Mean that one.
I'm not a soldier anymore. I'm an engineer.
Bring back them. He should just go face here. Yeah. Okay, mistake, but that's fine by me. Damn it.
This is Captain James Kirk of the USS Enterprise. I'm not a soldier anymore. I'm an engineer.
Well, the Enterprise is going to die on a shuttle, but I think one of his last cards is Locutus, so I want to get that way away from him being able to take my ships on. Notice on that one how I got the complicated play correct, which was getting my auxiliary power back up, but then I got the basic play completely screwed up by having the Creek to take 3 more damage than it actually had to at that point. So yeah, not good. Also, that retreat from the 1-3 isn't great either, because it leaves me without a ship in play where I can have a free retreat. And because the AI went face in the last turn, and now he's going face again, that basically means that I have now got to a point where I pretty much can't afford to take any fatigue whatsoever. And because of these little incremental issues that we're having here, this is going to be what's going to end up causing me major issues here. Alright, the last card in my deck is Quark, so...
Good customers are as rare as...
Oh ho ho! Oh!
Being afraid of
Yes,
everything
please.
means you learn nothing.
Do I take 1 fatigue from that? Yes, damn it. Didn't mean to do that. Uh,
I lost my temper. No big deal.
please have like a Voth City ship left or something like that. Just something huge. What I'm mainly worried about here is that the AI or Locutus has one more ship that's available to him. Sorry, one more legendary available to him, and that legendary is Locutus. So basically what I have to do at this point is make sure that my guys, I basically have to never leave him with a ship in play, otherwise Locutus is going to come down and kill my guys. Now, I'm probably not going to be able to leave a ship in play anyway because I'm on such low life, he'll simply just attack my face and win. So, therefore, I am literally at this point where I am forced to trade all the time, and it makes things very, very difficult. And again, I've let my deck get down to 0. So again, I'm going to end up drawing a card here, unless I put Quark onto the sarcophagus ship and retreat the sarcophagus ship, which, to be honest, I think is the correct move here. And that, you know, that is unfortunate that I'm going to have to retreat. Yeah, not putting Quark on here is a major, major mistake. I need to put Quark on the sarcophagus ship and retreat the sarcophagus ship. It's the only thing I can do. Yeah, I think that I just lost sight of everything there, and that is going to lead, that's pretty much going to lead to me losing this game, because all I'm going to do now, by shuffling one crew back into my deck, that means that the loop's just going to pick up again next turn, and I only have Excelsiors in play that I can retreat. So this has led to an extremely unfortunate circumstance for me, and in reality it all could have been prevented for the moment. That is a phenomenal legendary to get, not Kez, the other one, and we may still be able to survive this. But now that the AI has drawn, and of course I lose 2 crew there as well, so now I'm at the point where I have to fatigue this turn. I have to put 2. Yeah. Now we're at the basic point where I feel like I've lost this game, but I actually haven't, and I will explain as we go here. It looks like I have no option here, but what I can do, play Shran on the Excelsior, and I can either attack face or not, it doesn't really matter. Use my ability, and then I can also play Shran. Yeah, play Shran, use my ability, that's correct. I've done that. I can attack face, then retreat my Excelsior, and if he plays Locutus, hope he misses my Guardians. That's basically the way that this is going to work. Locutus has to miss my Guardians if he plays Locutus here. And what I can also do is I can buff up my other Guardians so they don't just die immediately. So this is basically what I'm hoping for here. And again, I don't think that what I did there was right, and obviously that's the only thing I can do, and that is actually a phenomenal draw because it means that my ships are alive, so when I draw Shran next turn, I can do the Quark retreat, have Shran and Quark in my deck, and that will actually mean that my loop is complete again, and I can now just produce 2 taunts every turn as well, which is absolutely absurd. So, yep, I should do the correct thing here. Run my 5-4 into his 5-4, killing it. Play Shran on the other. Yep, that's also fine. Play Shran. Make 2 guys. Play Quark on it as well. No, not on that one. And here you go. We're looking at this point. I'm almost in... Yeah, I would say I'm actually in auto loop at this point because, again, I'm just thinking I can't possibly lose here. His last card is Locutus, so I don't need to do anything, you know, I don't need to do anything outrageous here because his last card is Locutus, and I've made sure that he can't have any ships in play at any time. But... that's cool, it gets me burning back. What? What? How did he get that? And game over. The third cube is going to end it. Now, I'm pretty sure the bug should not have a third cube. However, it is still possible to win from here, funnily enough. Well, maybe not win, but it's certainly possible to survive. I can return his Borg cube to his hand, kill the 3-1, play Quark, and no, I'm going to take fatigue from that. So no, it is not actually possible for me to win anymore. However, I hope that you understand that from everything that I've been doing and looking at some of the trades I did where I didn't have to, keeping ships alive, etc., I could have won this game. There's no doubt in my mind I could have won this game. The issue is that I took my eye off the ball in terms of making my plays as efficient as possible, and the idea should have been to always have 4 ships in play and loop Shran and Quark. That was the only thing I had to do. I've passed out stats in a way that has basically left me with 1 big ship in play rather than a couple of smaller ones, and in this case, it's led to, yes, the AI has done something totally unexpected because, you know, at the end of the day, come on, you weren't really expecting that to happen, but it's definitely something that I should have been looking to play. I should have been looking to play around, and unfortunately, I just didn't. So, yep, and obviously I'm having a little bit of a rant on screen here because there's no way that I feel he should have been able to play 3 Borg cubes. His ultimate is put a Borg cube into play, but that's different than playing one. And therefore, I feel that he's been offered a core cube twice, which is what he shouldn't have happened. But either way, looking at improving my own game, and I'm here thinking I've played this perfectly. I hope you guys will agree with me. I really haven't. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.